Hey guys, it's Rose, and it is the end of November, which means a couple different things. First up, it means it is the end of NaNoWriMo, so if you managed to do that, if you managed to hit your 50,000 words, congratulations! And I really hope you did. I hope that all of you who did it hit your word count goals. Whether you did or you didn't, I'm going to be doing a bunch of videos in the next couple months that I hope you will find helpful. Some of them are going to be about editing, moving forward, working through your novel, and some of them are going to be about overcoming things like writer's block and finding time in your schedule to write. So whether you achieved NaNoWriMo goals or not, I hope that you will find those helpful in future. End of November also means that it is time for another wrap-up. End of November also brings us Thanksgiving. I didn't do a Thanksgiving video. I ran out of time to do that, but I did want to do a little one, so here's a late Thanksgiving thankfulness to you. You behind your computer watching me talk in my house right now. I'm very, very thankful to you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'm very, very grateful to everyone who watches, however small those numbers might be sometimes. And I'm really grateful to anyone who comments, who likes, who interacts in any way. And I'm still really excited to be doing this. And I hope that you'll stick with me as I make some changes in the next year and hopefully make some videos that are a little more interesting and useful and practical for you as well. So thank you for watching. On to the wrap-up. Last month was Nonfiction November. I read entirely nonfiction books. So in no particular order, Julie and Julia by Julie Powell, Dave Barry's Greatest Hits by Dave Barry, obviously, The Physics of Superheroes by James Cacalia, The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, End of Major Combat Operations by Nick McDowell, Always Looking Up by Michael J. Fox, Mc Sweeneys number 34, Billions and Billions by Carl Sagan, 30 Lessons for Loving by Dr. Carl Pillemer, How to Write a Damn Good Novel by James Fry, or Frey maybe, The Dog Who Ate the Truffle by Suzanne Carriero, The Commitment by Dan Savage, and Do Cool Shit by Nikki Agrawal. One on my e-reader as well, which was Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, which means a total of 15 books this month, which I'm really, really proud of and kind of surprised of. Usually I find that I read nonfiction a little bit more slowly than I read fiction, but a lot of these were quite slim books, so I think that has something to do with it. Favorite books of the month, Elizabeth Gilbert, Big Magic, amazing, amazing book. I really do love her writing anyway. I also just love how she approaches things on social media. Big Magic is a book about creativity and living a creative life. It's absolutely fantastic. It's so inspiring. It's written with so much kindness, so much positive energy, such a great heart and a great feeling to it, and I absolutely loved it. I got it on the e-reader, obviously, which is why I don't have it to hold up, but I'm actually going to be getting it in hard copy so that I can keep it on my desk and keep reading it and flipping through it time and time again because, oh my gosh, I just came away from every time that I tried to read even a chapter or so, I came away from it so fired up and so happy and so excited. So I would absolutely, absolutely recommend that one to anyone. The next great book that I read this month is The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. I haven't actually completely finished this because it is a 28-day challenge and I started it partway through the month, so I still have a few days to go. This does come with a caveat. I don't like The Secret, and this is from the Secret series, so I just kind of want to cover that up. I don't like it. I just don't like the way that The Secret packages certain ideas, and this, I don't feel like it really fits in with that because it's not about the law of attraction. This is actually, like I said, it's a 30-day or 28-day challenge about gratitude, and although that, for some people, that might seem a little sort of hokey or overdone, but the fact of the matter is that expressing gratitude and feeling gratitude actually has been shown to increase serotonin levels in your brain, so it makes you happy. And being around someone who wants to complain and moan all the time is not fun. Being around someone who is more positive and more happy and wants to talk about good things, it's more fun to be around. So gratitude can help you with that as well. Whether or not you think it's going to make your life better in any other way, it is useful just for making you a happier person who's more fun to be around. And these little challenges They're very easy to do. They don't cost any money. They don't take a lot of time. And it's just a great book to make you a little bit happier and a little more filled with gratitude in your day-to-day life. Third book for Great Books for the Month is The Physics of Superheroes. Such a fun book. It takes physics and it relates it to superheroes, shockingly enough. So that means that we hear, like, could Flash run on water? Could Superman leap tall buildings? And if he could, what would that mean for the gravity on Krypton? And you'll hear little bits about a lot of the Golden Age superheroes, the classic superheroes. You'll hear little bits about science in terms of, like, genetic research with spiders, or obviously the majority of it is about physics. And the thing that really made this impressive is the voice of the author is so engaging. It's so happy. He makes lots of little funny jokes all the time. And he really talks to the reader. There's no instance where you just feel like you're reading something that is an essay that you don't really care. No, it's all really, really engaging and grabs your attention. He does not let it go. And even though there are times when, you get a fair bit of math in here, he makes sure to make it easy, and he makes a point of kind of laughing at the math a little bit and trying to remind you, don't take it too seriously, don't freak out if you don't understand this, just let me explain the whole principle, and if you want to know the math, here's the math, and if you don't, doesn't matter, but here's how it relates to Superman. And it was really fantastic. It's such a fun read, and I would recommend this to anyone, whether you're a comic book fan or a physics fan or not. The bad. Billions and Billions by Carl Sagan. I had really high hopes for this one. I thought it was going to be so much fun, and it's not. For one thing, it's really not what you would expect from the cover, which is always very disappointing. It's also extremely outdated now. It was printed in the 90s, and I thought it was going to be about sort of astrophysics and the solar system and the universe, and I thought, well, that doesn't go super out of date, right? It's not. It really turns into essentially an environmental manifesto with a random bit of abortion conversation thrown in there, and it's collections of articles or speeches or essays. Some he may have written for this book, some he may not have. We don't really know. And it's so outdated now, and the environmental angle from the 90s is something that obviously we've heard over and over and over again. It wasn't giving me new information, and it was really a hard slog. But I do think that it would have been much, much better when it was more relevant, and that's really not the fault of the book that it's been a while since it's been printed. Mc Sweeneys. I will admit I bought this because, as you can see, it comes in this little plastic jacket, and the book that goes in here is this one, The End of Major Combat Operations. This is why I bought this packet. I didn't actually know what Mc Sweeneys was. It is a sort of literary magazine. Book itself / journal itself, I did not like. For one thing, it is a collection primarily of short stories with some nonfiction in it. We know that I really, really struggle with short stories. I'm not a fan, so obviously that had an impact on the fact that I didn't like it. That said, I found this absolutely reeking of literary pretension. I love literature. I really do. I've loved studying it. I've loved taking English Lit. I've loved reading a lot of the classics, but the one thing that I cannot stand about it is snobs. There's so much snobbishness and pretension around literature sometimes. I can't stand it, and this is full of it. And the letters at the beginning are the worst bit. Oh my god, they made me just, oh no. I found it really frustrating. I know that a lot of people absolutely love this, and if this is your kind of thing, great. It's not. I like my reading to be accessible and open to everyone, and I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, because we read for fun, so the reading part should be fun. Last on my bad list is Do Cool Shit, and I was really disappointed about that, because this book was a gift, and obviously I am an entrepreneur of sorts. I am a freelance writer. Unfortunately, this book was so frustrating to read, primarily because the advice is useless. Because the story, it's based on the story of this girl who has done very well for herself. She runs a very successful pizza business and runs some charity work with it. But a lot of her success has to do with the fact that she's had a very privileged life. I'm assuming this is based only on the book. I obviously don't know her. I could be wrong, in which case the book's even worse because it gives a completely wrong impression of the author. But she was raised, we hear about her childhood, and it sounds like, they had quite a bit of money in childhood, and they were very, very well supported, had very loving parents. And the parents paid for her to go to an Ivy League school, and then she went into investment banking. So she's starting this journey as an entrepreneur and giving this advice based on the idea that the person reading the book has an Ivy League education and a lot of money in the bank and a lot of connections. And so it's really only useful if you are Ivy League educated, rich, and very well connected, and single and in New York. Which is just, I mean, there are lots of people that are that, but it's not exactly useful for everyone. And by the end of it, I just kind of wanted to say, look, I'm sure you do really well in your business, and that's awesome, but you're not really an inspiration because it's not a story of, overcoming things particularly. And it's not useful, like I say. A lot of the advice she gives is awful. She talks about going and bothering entrepreneurs, like actually tells you to stalk them, her words, and bug them in their private time, which is so rude. It's just rude and unacceptable, and I would never do that. And I'm sure that a certain kind of person can get away with that and has a certain amount of charm and confidence to do that, but don't tell other people to do that. No. She talks about things like how to stay healthy. Well, have salad because you only eat out all the time, so eat out all the time and order a salad. It's not actually useful, and it drove me nuts. And I don't like the author at all after reading this book, which is the opposite of what you want a book to do. On the off chance, however, that you are insanely well connected and have a lot of money and are living in Manhattan and don't have any dependents or other responsibilities, and you want to start a physical business, it'd probably be a useful book. So this is a bit of a new section. I'm going to be doing, as you may have noticed, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly is actually, don't judge a book by its cover. So these are some of the books that I read this month that were great books, despite the fact that they have really unattractive covers to them. Julie and Julia. I will admit, this book's a good book. Weirdly, I actually prefer the movie. What? But it is a good book. However, it has the movie book jacket on it, and I don't like that. Next up on bad cover is Billions and Billions again, primarily just because it has nothing to do with what's on the inside of the book. So frustrating. And then we have How to Write a Damn Good Novel, which was a great book, a wonderful book, but it has this god-awful, outdated, boring cover on it. So do not let the covers fool you. You can have some really great books with really bad covers. Finally, I just want to talk a little bit about some of the lessons that I can take away from this month's reading and give to you as writers, readers, self-publishers. First and foremost, this is to do with the ugly with the covers and with books like Billions and Billions. Make sure when you're self-publishing that your cover and that your blurb matches what's going on in the book, because obviously when you're self-publishing, reviews and reviewers end up having a big impact on how well your book does. And one of the easiest ways to get a bad review despite having a good book is by having people pick it up and not get what they expected out of it. So make sure when you're choosing your cover art, when you're choosing your title, when you're doing your blurb for the back or the online version of the back of the book, make sure, please, 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 make sure that it all adds up and that when someone looks at it, they're going to know exactly what they get. It's actually probably going to do you more good to have a cover that is less edgy or punchy or weird or different, but that lets people know exactly what they're going to be reading, than it is to have something that's attention-grabbing, but then grabs the attention for the wrong reasons, and you'll get a bunch of reviews saying, well, I didn't like this because this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Another thing that I picked up this month that I would love to share with you is about making sure your voice and your reader matches. Whether it's your blog, whether it's a short story, whether it's an article you're pitching to a magazine or a website, whether it's a full novel, think about who you are talking to and make sure that your language matches the people that you want to talk to. A great example of this is actually Mc Sweeneys. even though I really didn't enjoy it, the cover itself very much matches the kind of reader that they have. And this very almost snobbish and pretentious style very much suits the kind of person who is going to regularly read a literary journal. So it wasn't for me, but they absolutely know what they're doing with it. And some of my favorite books for the month, Big Magic, Physics of Superheroes, were all about talking to the reader in a way that is really engaging and open and happy and positive and makes someone feel like they're being spoken to in a way that you want to be. Obviously, as well, How to Write a Damn Good Novel, great book, full of useful information on writing. But what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to do a separate review for this one, and I will post the link below when I have that one done. And that's it. I really hope you enjoy this new kind of format that I'm trying out with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let me know what you think of it, and I will see you for my next video, and we'll talk about what we're going to read in December. Have a great night.